to get more performance out of it, but from a health standpoint, from a biomechanics standpoint, pretty darn good. So now let's look at a bullpen that I threw this past season, my fully evolved mechanics. That's what that looks like. Now, let's look here. Step straight back this way. We're not stepping back behind the rubber anymore, which is going to allow the hips to stay very quiet right here. Very little rotation of the hips. They stay very quiet. So I'm going to give this drift very good. It's calm. Look at, this is the position of my back leg. Now we get to top and we're coming down. We have very little drift, but it's just enough. Okay, so now we have this distinct downward move right here into the back leg. Boom. Now I could get a little bit lower, definitely. But you look at this, the hips are even still. This foot is coming out this direction. It's not kicking back here. I'm thinking that I want to kick my foot at this 45 degrees. So if this is to the plate and this is straight out, you can imagine that, and that is like 45 degrees. That's what I'm thinking, how I want my foot to trace, and it does a pretty good job of that. Now obviously it starts to swing towards the plate, but the initial move of it is kind of on that line. Okay, hips are level. So the drift phase, great. Drop phase could be a little bit more, but pretty darn good. Here's our diagram. Hips, leg, that's pretty much balanced. So now the hips are going to start to rotate. The hips rotate me open into landing. Very good hip rotation here. You can see like even the back pocket already. So the hips are 1, 2 frames away from being fully rotated. 1, 2, my hips are done rotating right here. And I have all this area left to go with my arm. So we're going to say that the rotation phase, very good. What about the block? Look, we hit right there. 1 frame to absorb. Now the leg starts driving back. The knee is actually driving back this way, which is driving the left hip closed, which drives the right hip all the way closed and stops the hips dead in their tracks right there. Bam. Now all this energy transfers up to the top into the ball. So we're going to give the block phase very good marks. What about the separation phase? Well, the hip rotates away from the shoulder. Shoulder stays pinned back. Could have a little bit more separation, and in a game setting, I probably do. This is obviously a bullpen, so not throwing quite as hard, but the gross mechanical model is the same. So we'll give the separation very good marks. You can see on the jersey here how much stretch is going on back towards that shoulder. And you can see how independent the hips move here. Hips are rotating before the torso then starts rotating, okay? So the first frame of torso rotation is really from here to there. You can see the torso rotate right there, okay? But the first frame of hip rotation is right here, from this frame to that frame. So 1, 2, and then the torso rotates. Now this is shot at like 23 frames a second or something like that. So ideally we'd have some slow motion video, but this is what we got to work with. So the separation here, very well. Or I separate very well. I load very well. You can see this elbow drive back this way, this elbow drive back that way as this shoulder starts to rotate over here. So that's very good. Spiral of the elbow, that goes well. Spiral of the glove side as well. Boom. And then the throw, this glove side is continuing to push forward. Arm comes through, the shoulders forwardly rotate, and then everything decelerates after that. So